Hey y'all. Sorry, I had a video up earlier and I deleted it because I kind of got off the topic of like um yeah, I got off that. So now I'm back to do um this video. And now we're going to be discussing why men want to have control over women. The other one was about why men need women to submit to them or whatever, something like that. But I've already done a video like that, so I deleted it and retitled this one. Um, the reason I feel, or my opinion, is that men need women or anyone who they feel is beneath them to submit to them in order for them to feel on a higher level than that they already feel. You know, so I feel that if that's the case, it's false anyway. It's a false sense of feeling above anyone. It's more for their ego. So definitely don't feel that men um, are doing these things for the correct reason. Um, I believe that I I believe that I'm always going to feel that way because some men are like, unless you tell them certain things or quote unquote submit to them or quote unquote agree with whatever they're saying, they feel like they may have to prove themselves or prove or compete in order to feel a certain way about who they are or their status in the world. And women are not like that. So whenever I say never compete with a man, um, or if you're going to submit to a man, make sure they're doing everything that they need to be doing in order for you to relax and trust what they're doing. And if you can't do that, there's no way you'll ever be able to truly submit because you'll never be able to rest. So some men have to have their ego stroked. Some men have to feel like they're being put on a pedestal. Some women do too, but at the same time, like most women just want um, to feel as if, okay, that person is special to them, that person is special to them. But sometimes in this world, people are competing against each other, especially men. So men are going to try to compete each other or say, oh, look what I did, look what I can do, beat their chest and things like that. So whatever games or whatever things that they need to do in order to feel a certain way about themselves absolutely have nothing to do with you as a woman. If you allow it to have something to do with you as a woman, then whatever. But honestly, that's their problem. Um, if there's a game centered around you in the first place, if there's games or ego trips centered around women and whatever, if men want to be in control of women, that always goes to show you that it's not already that way. Because it wouldn't be a game and no one would seek control over someone that they already had control over. You see, so it's a constant battle. And I don't feel that having a constant battle is something that people actually want, but it's something that people continue to do. Now, I would rather have a constant communication or a constant creation, but never a constant battle because a constant battle is always going to end up bad for both people. So if you're always arguing with whoever you're with, or if you're always in a constant competition or a constant battle with whoever you're with, you're going to get bored. You're going to be like, you know what? This is boring. I don't want to do this because what's the point? You know, y'all can play y'all silly games. Men compete with each other in sports. Men compete with each other and how much they can do. How many weights they can lift and all this kind of stuff. Women don't care about stuff like that. We're like, okay, well, what can we do to make things easier? What can we do to, make sure the kids are taken care of? What can we do to do this? And I'm speaking literally. I'm not speaking any other type of way. And for those of you who are looking for something, This backdrop is just a backdrop. I'm not giving any subliminal messages. I don't care about that stuff anymore. Okay. So, just so y'all know, I really don't care. So when you're in a relationship where men are always trying to be over you and tell you what to do and dictate what you're doing and da 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 da, it's like, why even be there? You might as well be single, and then there's no one to dictate, and you can still date. You can still do whatever you got to do, because sometimes if you're quote unquote supposed to be someone's woman or girlfriend or wife, that doesn't automatically give them any type of control over you. Not in these days, it's not a bill of sale anymore. So, a lot of people try to control you through mental games, and still look, it ain't gonna work on somebody that have mental games themselves. It will never work. They may think it's working. It may work temporarily, but at the same time, they're learning those games as they go. And this is why a lot of men are mad, because the women will learn those games and flip the game on them. And that's why they get so upset. If a woman can flip a game because she learned the game from the man, then whose fault really is it? A lot of women don't feel that, it's wrong, but at the same time, some women do. If you're in one of those competition type relationships, get out and find someone who don't want to compete with you, who likes you just how you are, who doesn't have a problem with this or that. Someone who doesn't need to control, because a need to control is a feeling of not being in control in the first place. That's just how I feel about it. So if you feel like you have to control someone, it's because you don't have the control and you're trying to get the control. And when you can't keep the control, it's very frustrating, and that's going to lead to a lot of conflict. So it's best just to leave people alone that don't like control. It's best to leave men alone who want to control if you don't want to be controlled. It's best to find a man that doesn't seek to control every little thing. And it's best to always have a man who is able to speak and talk to you. And it's always best to find a woman who, if you're like a controlling man, it's best to find a woman who likes to be controlled, because there's some women out there that love to be controlled. Let me tell you, it's their thing. And if a lot of women like that, then I have no issue with that. If that's what you like, then go for that. But some women, they can't be controlled. It's just impossible. It's like they're going to say something, or they're going to act like they are controlled, but then the whole time they're plotting, or the whole time they're saving it up for you later on. So you can't really control. And some men target women who like to be controlled, or who don't say anything about being controlled. Or some women seek men to guide them, and then they turn around and they're like, okay, well, thanks for the temporary guidance, but that don't mean you guide me for the rest of my life. Okay. Just like when you go to school, you don't have, that teacher ain't your teacher forever. That teacher is your teacher for what? A semester. Okay. Um, so just make sure that y'all are not making decisions based on whether or not this man is controlling or not. You can tell if a man is controlling. Um, and like I said, there's no subliminal messages here. Look, this is a bookshelf. Some people will read into this. I know I would back in the day, but like now, this is just simply a backdrop for me. It means nothing. And when someone can control you as far as making you participate in this or that, it's like, you know what? I ain't gonna do nothing but sit here and do what I do and what I've been doing. Okay, look. It's a backdrop, baby. It means nothing. It's a piece of fabric. And when you have a piece of fabric and a backdrop and clothing and like all these things, um, and someone says, "Oh, you shouldn't do that," or "This, you shouldn't do this," or "You should change your clothes," or "You should dress this way," or "You should dress that," I'm gonna do what I want. Okay. So make sure that you're not allowing someone to make all those types of rules and decisions upon you, and you're able to do whatever you need to do to feel like you need to feel. Okay. Um, Submitting to someone is never going to happen if your mind is not the type to submit. It ain't never gonna happen. You can pretend, but it never will be real. It would never be genuine. It would never be 100% authentic submission. You know why? Because that's not who you are. I know I couldn't be ever 100% submissive. I know my mother couldn't ever be 100% submissive. I don't know any woman that could be 100% submissive. I have never met one. And so that's what I'm saying. There's women out there that will pretend, but that's about it. There's just like there's men out there that are going to pretend to be what you want until they get what they want. So we're not we're not like new to any of this game. This game is old. This game has been around forever. It's going to be around hopefully not much longer, but at the same time, it only works on people that allow it to work on it. Control only works on people who allow the control. You cannot do anything if it is not allowed, and it can't be allowed if you don't submit or you know play that role. It won't happen. So if you're in a relationship, if you're in anything, even if it's a job or with a coworker or anybody, just be like, whatever, I ain't gonna do that. That's why I could never ever keep a job because I could not be controlled. I didn't care what them people said. I would take 2 hour lunch breaks and come back looking at them crazy. I just could never do it ever. So imagine a relationship. And so, you can't do it. And you can do it in the first 2 weeks. Everybody pretend they on their best behavior. But after a while, the real person is going to come out and they're like, look, I don't do what people say. Okay. Just so you know. I remember I had this one coworker and she was worse than me. The boss would basically have to beg her to act right. She was like, maybe if you ask me nice, I'll do it. And he's like, please just do it. She's like, no, I don't feel like it. You do it. But there's just certain types of people that will not, you know, be controlled. There's certain people that got to be their own boss. There's certain people that have to have their own thing because they just can't submit. They just can't do it to save their lives. I mean, they might do it to save their lives, but at the same time, it's like, it's not really submission at that point. So, and they still probably go out talking trash. Whatever, I don't care what you said. So don't ever try to control someone if they are just not wanting to be controlled. The best way to control somebody is to not control them. Let me tell y'all, the best way to control someone is to not control them. Not control them. That's the best way to control someone because usually they're going to do what's best. Usually they're going to, do what is appropriate. And it may not be the way that you want stuff, like but it'll get done. And that's what people call compromise, like in a marriage. There's a certain way, like a man will do the dishes this way, a woman will do it that way, the man will organize this way, the woman will organize another way. There comes a time where you just have to allow whoever's doing the job to do it without complaining because it at least got done. Some people are very particular. I know I'm kind of particular, and it's very hard to allow someone else to do something a different way. But to keep the peace, you just don't say anything. But if it's getting done, sometimes you might complain about it, but at the end of the day, it's like, okay, well, at least it got done. I don't care. At least it got done. I ain't got to do it. So make sure you're also compromising as far as not being in a relationship where somebody got to be like submissive, like, oh no, I'm not gonna do that. And like, because it can always backfire. You don't really know how people think as far as, suppressing what it is that they're being submitted to. So I feel if somebody is pressuring you or making you submit and you don't want to, make sure that you let them know. I'm only doing this because it makes you feel like the big man. Whatever you say, boss. Be sarcastic with it. Be like, is there anything else that you would like to do? Would you like me to spit polish the floor as well? I come sarcastic with it, because sometimes people don't realize what they're doing. Some people don't realize how controlling they are, and that may wake them up. That may be like, wait a minute, am I really that bad? Yeah, sometimes people are. I find myself doing that to my kids sometimes, and they'll check me because sometimes I don't realize I'm doing that, and they'll be like, "Oh, you want me to do anything else?" Like, and I laugh, and then I'll say, "Okay, you're right. Well, do this and do that, but you still got to do it." But I'm not gonna, make it seem like you're this submissive person with no brain or anything. You got to give them, their dignity. Like, kids need dignity, definitely. Because otherwise, they're just going to bow to somebody when they get older, and they're going to bow to a boss because they had to bow to you. Always allow them to say what they need to say and give their opinion, even if you don't agree with it. Allow them to speak, allow them to say what they need to say, because at the end of the day, if you don't um, allow that, they're going to be submissive to other people in this world. And when they're submissive to other people in this world, it's like they'll never feel like a leader. They'll never feel like they can do this and that, and always feel like they have to submit. Girl or boy, it doesn't matter. So, leading by example is the best way. And kids also see what the parents do. And so when the parents start to try to control, each other, or the man tries to control the woman, the children see this and they're like, wait a minute, this is how it's supposed to be, or this is how I will never live, and then they'll go do the opposite. So you got to be careful what you're doing. And you also have to be careful about what you allow, somebody to do under, quote unquote, being falsely submissive. So a lot of people will definitely get this message. A lot of people will definitely um, watch what they say or do now. I definitely feel that, and a lot of people will stop pretending, and a lot of people will realize what they have been doing the whole time. So women are just as smart. Um, Men need to feel some type of ego stroke. Children, create your own relationship how you want to create it. Don't base it on whatever your parents are doing if you don't like it. But definitely make sure that you don't have to submit to somebody that you don't want to submit to. Definitely make sure, if you're going to submit to somebody, that you don't have to worry about anything. And definitely make sure, if you're trying to make someone submit to you, that you can cover everything and not take it to a level that is, destructive, or, taking someone's dignity away from them in front of anybody. So a lot of women come to me and ask me this question, and I don't know why. They always come and ask me, well, what if the man is controlling? Like, I get that question every time I go live. I'm not live right now to answer questions, but I get this question so many times. People keep writing me all, in my inbox, this question, and I tell them, look, if you don't like it, then don't put up with it anymore. You know, be out and be gone. And if you figure out a plan to do that, if you can't do it now, work on that plan. Definitely go where you are appreciated. Definitely don't take no trash or crap from somebody that you just can't submit to anyway. And don't pretend that you do when you don't want to. All right. Um, Sorry I had to delete my last video. It's just that I had gotten off the subject, and I was like, okay, I got to make sure that I talk about exactly what the video is going to be about. I'm not live reading comments anymore, so I'm trying to adjust to this new way of doing, pre-recording, so to say. And, pre-recording by myself is much, much better because I can control the entire video. I can control whatever I'm saying. I can control the direction of the video, and I can control everything about, what's going on. So that's why I was able to delete it and redo it and still have enough time because there's no interruptions. And I like it better this way. And that's how it's probably going to continue to be. So definitely be your own thinker. Don't allow a man to think for you. You always need the information that, whatever decisions are being made, but you don't have to always be a part of that if they have it taken care of, if you trust them enough to do what they said that they're going to do, da 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 da. And that's kind of rare. So if it's rare and you have it, yeah, that's so great. But if it's not what you think it is, then yeah, you're always going to double check and it's all going to be some fake submission going on. But as long as it's keeping the peace, that's what it's all about. But if you need to step up and say something, you should do so. Because a lot of people go broke, or you see those movies where the man makes all these bad decisions and then the family ends up this way and then the family ends up that way or in trouble. Don't allow that to happen. Open your mouth, speak up, do whatever. Also, don't be afraid to allow other people to offer, their opinions that you don't have to take. If you do need advice, don't just get it from one person. Allow other people to offer opinions and then think about what you feel and then make the best decision possible based on the information that you have gathered. That's the best way to make any type of decision if you're trying to make a big, huge decision. And you definitely want to go find someone who knows about your situation or who has been through your situation before. You definitely want to talk to someone like that. But at the same time, you also want to make up your own mind. So you need to just gather information and then make your own mind up based on things that you have gathered. You might not take everybody's information or opinion or use their advice, but you can take bits and pieces and put them into your own or create your own just with that information. So don't always try to do exactly what someone else does. Change it up because sometimes you need to personalize it. Okay. So appreciate everyone watching. Y'all can leave the opinions, what you think about, everything that was spoken. And I'll see if it deserves a comment.